Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be introducing the owner of Lather, Carol Wampler. Please, I'm so excited to have you here. I'm thrilled that you made time, that we were able to schedule something. She's remarkable. She has gone through such a journey of fertility. And so, if you can share your story and let people know how we came together.
Yeah, that's actually it was funny because I was not looking for you.
I
At
know,
the
right?
time, yeah, at the time where I met you, I was just like, and I was looking for something to detox my liver, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So basically, 5 years ago, my husband and I decided to want to start a family. And we got married 3 years before, we decided to start a family. So in 2016, basically, we got married, and then we said we're going to wait a couple of years to kind of get situated in marriage. But unfortunately, I had lost my grandma in 2018, and she was a big part of my life. I never called her grandma, I called her mama. And and that got me thinking, like, man, she's never going to meet my children. So it was just kind of like, I don't know, like a moment for me, and say, let me not wait anymore. Let us like have a family. And then sadly, in 2019, we lost my husband's father. So that was like another hit in our life. We're like, okay, like we really want to have children. At this time, we were trying for like a year. And the first year, it was like, I don't know how long is it, it takes to get pregnant. I really wasn't like on the natural holistic mindset back then. And I was having a lot of hormonal issues. In 2016, I found out that I had hypothyroid. But the doctor that was, talking to me, told me that I could, basically balance my hormones naturally, and she didn't give me medication for it. So I kind of thank her for that, because of her, I didn't get on medication, and I went through this whole journey that it's been insane, but it's been cool at the same time to learn so many things about the hormones in the body and how we're linked to everything, right? So 2016, found out I have hypothyroid. 2018, grandma dies. 2019, father-in-law dies. And, we're trying to have children, trying to be patient. First 6 months, I was like, okay, let's just, go with the flow, see how it goes. But I wanted to know how my body was functioning. So I started taking a P test of ovulation since the beginning of our journey, like, okay, we're just going to keep this, and the weird part was that it was showing me that I wasn't ovulating at all, like, but I will have my period. So I never have missed my period. I've always had my period, and that's what happened, and
I'm
yes.
so glad you said that because women will reach out to me saying, I have my period and I'm trying to have a baby, but nothing's happening. And so I haven't asked them, like, are you ovulating? I just say, you have your period. That sounds like you're okay. I don't even tell them, take a test to make sure you're ovulating. So I
Yeah.
love that you brought that up
Mm-hmm.
because that could
Yeah.
be the issue, right?
Yeah, that was the main issue with our journey. I was not ovulating. So yeah, so I had my documentation, from the day we started up to a year. So I brought that into the doctor when I went 6 months after we started trying to the doctor, and basically told her, like, I've been trying to get pregnant for 6 months, but I'm not ovulating. Like, what can we do? And she literally told me, well, you can't do anything with fertility until a year after you're naturally trying. But I thought that was silly, because I'm just like, I'm not ovulating. Like, the
Mm-hmm.
strips are telling me I bought expensive, the expensive ones, and I also bought like the cheaper ones. I'm like, there's no way both batches are wrong, are
Mm-hmm.
bad batches of the strip. So sure enough, she's like, wait another 6 months, see how it goes. I said, okay, but I'm like, I'm not ovulating. She's like, well, I can't do any tests on that until a year passes. So within that year, we did get pregnant one time. in the beginning, and we had a miscarriage. We had a chemical miscarriage. So the baby was maybe about 4 weeks or so, and it didn't implant in the uterus. So somewhere in there, I did end up ovulating, but I didn't know when. But majority of the time, I was not ovulating at all. So I said, okay. So I go back for a year, and sure enough, I tell her, this is my log of a whole
Mhm.
year. I haven't ovulated, and I had a miscarriage. So she's like, okay, now we can start testing. Sure enough, she started testing. No ovulation was happening with my body. Um, and I confirmed it through, the test that she ran and stuff. So after that, she recommended going on either Clomid or Letrozole. And basically, those are two medications that force your body to ovulate. So you're just forcing your body to just get those eggs out. And she was surprised that I got my period every month. Like it was there on the dot. I never missed it. And I was not ovulating. So I go into Clomid. I go the lowest dosage of Clomid. No, I did Letrozole. Sorry. So Letrozole, um, I think Clomid is for people who maybe potentially have PCOS or have PCOS, and I wasn't diagnosed as PCOS at this point. I didn't have all the symptoms of PCOS. I just had the no ovulation kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I got into Letrozole with the smallest amount of, like I think it was like 5 milligrams or something, and we did that for 3 months, and then we were gonna go up every 3 months to see how my body would do. First 3 months did not ovulate. I got my period, did not ovulate, did the thing, did not ovulate. I started feeling a little crazy. The next 3 months, we went up a little bit, and I ovulated 1 month out of the 3 months. So she said I needed a bigger dose. So I went to like the 15 milligram dosage, I think, for the last 3 months, and kept it that way. And I was ovulating with that one. I just wasn't getting pregnant.
Yeah.
So then I was feeling cycle. Like my hormones were out of whack. I
Mm.
felt I was so emotional. It started taking a toll on my mental health because I'm dealing with infertility already. I'm already sad because I can't get pregnant. And the hormones are not helping me because all my hormones are heightened at this point,
Yeah.
and everybody that I know is getting pregnant around me, and I'm happy for them, but I'm sad for myself. So I started going into a depression that I didn't even know I was in. And because the hormones were like, I'm medicating myself, giving myself basically hormone therapy. I just
Mhm.
didn't know how to handle all of that. So I believe after a year of doing Letrozole, did not get pregnant. I felt crazy. I had a lot of suicidal thoughts within from the 6 months through the 12 month. I went through a lot of episodes of having suicidal thoughts. And it was just like, it wasn't me, like I didn't feel like myself at all.
Mhm.
And then I told my husband, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I feel like I need to take a break. This feels like work now. Like I'm really
Yep.
sad and I can't get out of this sadness, like state. And I'm constantly dealing with like, I just want to kill myself because I can't have a child. I'm supposed to be doing this. Our bodies are meant to do this and it's not doing it. So I didn't feel like a woman, or I was like a woman enough. So it was like all those feelings. And I just couldn't get out of it. I couldn't get out of that mentality. And my husband's like, go for it. He's like, whatever you need to do. He's like, start seeing a therapist too. So, I got myself with a good therapist, and I got off of Letrozole, still not pregnant. And then I went into a huge, like the biggest sickness of my life. After I finished Letrozole, my body was not absorbing vitamins and minerals. So, and I didn't know that. So I was really depleted on so many vitamins and minerals, and my body wouldn't absorb it, even though I was eating healthy,
Yeah.
by this point I already knew, like I'm eating healthy, like I'm doing all the things I need to do, but it just wasn't working because my body wasn't absorbing. And I didn't know that until I had a really bad episode of suicidal thought, and then talked to the doctor, and then she ran vitamins and minerals like test on me because I asked for it. And sure enough, I was super low on vitamin D. vitamin D takes a huge toll on your mental health. Like, it's insane how much vitamin D like affects your mental health, you know? But you know, and then she's like, you know, gave me a supplement, but then at that point I was more on the holistic side. So I
Uh-huh.
went to a natural doctor. And that natural doctor basically got me on the crazy detox. I went on a detox for like 3 months. And he's like, we're going to get your back up and running. About a month later, my body was back up and running
That's
because
great.
yeah, so I started like I couldn't even open up a water bottle at one point because I was so weak. And you know, like the sadness was still there, you know, and because my body was not absorbing the minerals, even vitamin D, um then I wasn't going to get any better unless I started absorbing. So this doctor put me on the crazy detox. I ate everything that I ate was vegetables and meats
Mhm.
and just salt and pepper and garlic. Salt, pepper, garlic. I couldn't do any seasoning. I did
Okay.
water. And so it was just pretty much was like a kind of like a carnivore with vegetables in it kind of lifestyle, but just salt, pepper, garlic, salt, pepper, garlic. It was the most boring thing, but it started helping me detox my body.
And
Um,
this doctor that you saw, is the doctor here in Chicago?
He is not in Chicago, but he's not too far from Chicago. So he's
Okay.
about a good 40-minute drive. And I can share those details with you off the call. I can show you who he is. His name is Dr. Paul Ruzila. He's a holistic doctor and he's amazing. And he's not even expensive like a lot of people think that holistic doctors are expensive, you know. He runs blood work on you. He can charge the insurance for that. And then every like I think I paid like maybe 25, $30 the most every time I went to go see him. But he
Okay.
gives you really good supplements. Up to this day, I'm still taking the vitamin D that he prescribed me because it's a really good vitamin D and it's in a liquid form and it's D3 and it's like specific to your body. Each drop is like 1,000 ml. It's insane. It's insane.
That's wonderful.
So
Yes, I'm
mhm,
definitely gonna get that from you so we can share it with everyone here in
mhm,
case they're in the area, they are struggling with fertility and they're
mhm.
curious to go see this doctor. So this is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing that information.
Yeah, so he got me back up and running within a month. My husband did this detox with me, and he's never felt more amazing in his life. We saw inflammation decrease.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel so good. And my face, like my face was just so different. You know, I basically got my life back, you
Yeah.
know, from like feeling, and then I stopped having suicidal thoughts until my vitamin D was optimal. And even for fertility, I found out through the research that I was doing that for fertility, your vitamin D has to be 70 in order for you to be fertile and have the higher chance in order to get pregnant. So I
Yes.
know here in Chicago, or people that live, you know, in the cold and barely get sunlight, we always joke around, oh, but everybody's vitamin D deficient, but we
Mhm.
shouldn't be, you know,
Yes.
we shouldn't be, even if we're slightly off. Let's get back to optimal because your body needs your vitamin D for a reason. So yeah, so that was like that part of the story. And then I started doing holistic and all this stuff, and then I lived like that for a couple, like maybe for like a year or so. And then I decided to look into I found out that there was a shampoo line that I was using, which was Olaplex. That's how my like business story comes in. So I'm doing, like, at this point I'm doing acupuncture, I'm eating healthy, I'm doing exercises. I found a really good holistic chiropractor that focuses on the nervous system as well. So I'm doing all the things that I need to do in order to be healthy, not
Mhm.
necessarily get pregnant. Because at that point I was taking a mental like break from getting pregnant, and I was like, my body needs to be healthy in order to be pregnant, and carry a child, or else it's not going to work, like. And that's why I never did IVF, and I didn't want to do IVF because I see a lot of people go through IVF and they lose so many children and they miscarry so much and they have so much trauma for them to find out that it was a depletion from a vitamin or a mineral or something else that could have been taken care of before IVF. And they're depleting their body constantly left and right. So I told my husband, I'm like, I don't want to do IVF right now, if we end up doing IVF, I have to make sure that my hormones are balanced, my vitamins are being absorbed, and my body is in optimal health, so we can have a higher chance of getting pregnant. Because everybody knows the IVF is not a for sure baby, you know? So I want to give my body the best chance possible in order to get pregnant. Thank God we didn't have to go that route, though.
No, and I'm so glad you bring that up. It's about you first, your body, and making sure that you are the best health, in the best possible health possible to be able to carry a baby full term. A lot of people find us and they're like, oh my God, you help people get pregnant. I'm like, yeah, we have amazing things that can help you, but let's focus on you first. And it's kind of like a turnoff. They're like, wait, no, I want to get pregnant. I've been trying for so long. They're so desperate. And it's like, no, let's focus on you, making sure you are healthy and that you are doing what you need to do. Because if you can't carry the baby full term, it is very traumatic for a lot of people. And then sometimes it just doesn't happen one time. It's multiple times that this is happening. So now your body is not ready and there's more trauma going on. So you're going to need more healing and it's going to take you longer.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you're sharing that.
Yeah. And healing from everything is mindset healing, you know, body healing. It's all kinds of things. Cause I'm just giving you like the medical and physical side of it. But on the spiritual side of it, I had given up control and I had came to agreement with the Lord. And I said, if I am not able to have children, I am okay with it. Yeah. Like I'm totally fine with not being able to have children of my own. There's other ways to have children, you know, there's other ways to be a mother. And I came to a point in my identity where I wasn't saying, in order to be a woman, I need to birth a child physically, because that's not what makes you a mother. You know, what makes you a mother is carrying and loving a child and bringing a child, and just raising a child, you know, and even, you know, like there's so many ways to be a mother. It's not necessarily you actually giving birth. A lot of people give birth and, you know, sadly, they're not mothers, you know, and even dads, you know, like a lot of them are sperm donors. They're not there for their children. And I know people that have adopted children, they're dads, you know. So I had taken that identity away from me already. And I had given up control. And I was like, it is what it is. I'm going to focus on my health and, you know, see what happens after that, you know. And my husband obviously had to be on board with that too. And he had some healing too, you know, on the spiritual side and everything to be okay with that mentality too, because, you know, it also affects men. Fertility is not just women, you know, in our case, he wasn't the problem. You know, I wasn't ovulating, but it took a toll on him too, because we both wanted to create a family, you know, and, you know, so all these things that come along with that. So going back to the health journey, then, you know, I was doing other things. Then I found out that there was the shampoo line that I was using. And then that shampoo line had to take a statement and they had to put it out in the public because they had a synthetic fragrance in there that was toxic to the reproductive system.
Oh, I know. And girl, we know this. So you know about skincare. Her line is all about holistic skincare and holistic ingredients in your shampoo and your conditioner and whatever you're using in your body. So for me, we started with natural skincare and we've gone into the herbal blends side of things. But there's so many chemicals in daily products that we use, both in men and women, that do not help with fertility. They make us less fertile. And that also includes deodorant, a daily deodorant that we're using, both men and women. It is wild out there. So I'm so glad you brought that up because it could be a product that you are using every day that's ruining your fertility chances.
Yeah. So this company brought this statement and I can send you pictures. I used to dye my hair all the time. I started dyeing my hair at 18 and I stopped at 33 or 32 years old. And I've always done my hair, you know, and I knew there were chemicals, you know, I just never knew that they could affect you to that extent, you know, unless you're dealing with something, you know. And it doesn't happen to everybody, but the ones that it happens to is like just we still have a percentage that this happens to, you know. And over time also, it happens over time. It may not be now, it could be later in life, or it could be even much later in life, in our 50s, 60s, you know. So the shampoo line, they said basically we had to remove the synthetic fragrance that smells like flowers and lilies, and it smells amazing, because it can be toxic to the reproductive system. And then of course I'm dealing with infertility. I'm doing all the things that I can, and then I get really upset, and I'm like, why would you even bother like having something in your products that can hinder fertility? Like, come on now, like, let's not do this. And then I was really confused because I was like, so how can something that you put on your scalp can affect your like your uterus? Like, I don't understand how that happened. And then because I'm dealing with infertility, I became a research nerd, and I started digging into, I had nothing else to do. So I had started digging into like why synthetic, like why is this fragrance toxic to the reproductive system, you know? And then I started looking into the science and everything. Long story short, I basically came to the conclusion that it goes through our bloodstream. It takes 26 seconds for your body to absorb whatever you're putting on it. Now, over time, we're putting things on our body when it comes to perfumes, soaps that we wash our bodies with, hair, conditioner, body scrubs, oils, you know, like all the skincare stuff. Everything has the word fragrance in it. Everything, like everything. And that word in itself represents up to 1,300 chemicals in one fragrance. Now we're mixing fragrances. We're saying it's vanilla, you know, lavender fragrance. And then we have over 3,000 chemicals running through our bloodstream in 26 seconds. And again, it's not happening overnight. It's happening within years of usage. And when people, I've never used perfumes because they always gave me headaches. But I've used, you know, like other stuff to kind of like give me some kind of like smell or whatever. But it's crazy to me. And I'm just like, I just couldn't believe it. And I was like, well, there you go. And then I found out it wasn't just fertility, it was hormones and overall health, you know. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. Well, we're dealing with a lot of sickness and disease and gut issues, because there's things not only in the, you know, like the way we eat, the way we exercise, and now the things that we put in our body. So that's how I created our skincare, hair care, body care line, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, I'm not doing this to myself, and I'm not doing it, you know. And then because I wasn't thinking of, you know, trying to get pregnant, I was just like, let me put this out there, you know, for the world, so people can have a better option. So with our products, we only use essential oils and things that are natural and things that are not like processed, you know. So that's how my business came about. And then because I started doing my business, started going to farmers markets, and that's how I met you at a farmer's market. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I literally went to your booth, and what I was looking at the time, it was detoxing my liver, because I had, you know, within my journey, like all this time, I was trying to figure out like what I can heal, what I can't heal, whatever, what can help me or what cannot help me. And at that time, I was trying to detox my liver. I just didn't know how to. And I was doing it, you know, at home, doing some things, but I really wanted to focus on the liver, because I had started to get like dark spots around my face. And everybody kept telling me maybe it's a sunspot, it's a sunspot. And I refused to blame it on the sun. And I said, no, I don't feel well, so it has to be something else. And then I found out the liver, you know, like just the liver. And then I found out, because the infertility, like all this like tests you have to go through, that I had a very mild fatty liver, which makes sense because I wasn't able to lose weight and all this other issues. So I'm like, okay, let me detox my liver. So when I went to your booth, I was curious when I saw the liver detox. I was like, okay, cool. Like, let me get this liver detox. But then it caught my attention because it said super womb tea. And even though I wasn't like hyper focused on, you know, trying to get pregnant, I've always do all the things that I can in order to have my body in optimal state so I can be able to get pregnant.
Yeah.
So, that's, I think that I asked you, I was like, so what's this tea about, this and that? And I was like, I'll just take it, see what happens, right? And then I had gone to, so I bought your teas, or I think we did an exchange or something. And somehow I got the tea. And then I started drinking the tea. And the day, like maybe a week later, I went to another show and I met a guy who's done acupressure. Have you ever heard of acupressure?
No.
So it's different from acupuncture.
Okay.
Acupuncture, they do the needles on your body,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of reset it, relax it, and because there's pressure points on your body, so that's where the needles go on the pressure points. So acupressure is basically similar, but instead of putting the needles, he puts pressure with his hands on your body.
Oh,
So it's still Chinese medicine because acupuncture is Chinese medicine.
yeah.
So this one is just another form of that. And this guy basically told my husband that, my husband had like knee issues and stuff like that. He heard our story and they exchanged numbers. I wasn't thinking of anything else outside of my husband's knee, nor was I looking for treatment either. I was just focused on my body and that's it. And then this guy, here's a story. He says, well, I want to help your husband with his knee or whatever. And he messages my husband and he's like, bring your wife too. I would love to do a 40-point reset on her body to help her with infertility. And because this was like our fifth year dealing with infertility, it's not that I had given up, but I was like not putting my hopes up, I was just like, I'm not doing anything to stress myself right now to like think about we're gonna get pregnant kind of thing. I'm just trying to enjoy my life because I had gone through all that depression and mindset and like all this other
Mm-hmm.
stuff and all the suicidal thoughts. I just wanted to give myself a break from any thinking or any stress of let's try to get pregnant. I'm like, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying my life right now. And I'm doing the things that I can to take care of myself. So my husband's like, let's just go, like it doesn't hurt to try. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I go there and then he does this 40-point reset on my body. He basically just lays me down. He feels my uterus and he tells me that my uterus is cold and I'm not ovulating. And I was like, that's interesting. Like,
Yeah.
okay. So he does this pressure point thing. He pushes on my body. And then on the feet, he says that there's fertility channels on the feet and
Okay.
pressure points on the feet for fertility. And he does what he got to do. My husband, he does the same thing to my husband and focuses on his knee. And then my husband's feeling amazing. Like 48 hours later, I started feeling like total, like I just did not feel good at all.
Really?
He told me I was really blocked and my body needed to detox. So my body was taking out a lot of things and it was not pretty in the bathroom. Let me tell you that much. I won't
Wow.
go into
All the
crazy detail.
pressure points.
Yeah, by pressure points. And I was like, my goodness. And then that was just a week after I met you. So hand in hand with the teas, I was drinking the teas. Then I did this a week after. And then a month and a half later, I found out that I was pregnant. And I was like, those are the two things that I did differently that along with everything that I'm doing, I'm like, these are the two things that made a big difference in our journey. And even like I had one period with your stuff and I like it was great. It was not painful. I was like, okay, like we can do this, let me just clean my womb, whatever it has to do, But yeah, and then we were pregnant after that, after 5 years of infertility, 5 years of headaches, trials, a whole thing. I could not believe. I even went to and your tea is like, I don't even know if people ever say like it's bitter. Yeah, it's a little bitter and stuff like that. But I've done worse stuff to get pregnant, and your tea was the only thing that helped me because I did a curandera in one point of my, like fertility. She popped things that I didn't even know could be popped. It was traumatic. I thought I was signing up for a Mayan uterus like massage. And that's a whole nother story because I was traumatized by that. Cause I'm telling you, she popped things on the floor that I'm like, this can pop? Like what? And she gave me some blood looking thing and she told me to drink it. It was disgusting. It smelled disgusting. And I did it. I mean, when you trying to get pregnant, you get
Yeah.
into a desperation where
Yeah.
you try everything. I'm like, give me everything that you have. You know, you're gonna tell me this garlic is special. I'm gonna do it. You know,
Yeah.
not saying that her, you know, just her stuff, it just didn't work for me,
Yeah.
but you know, your tea did, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is insane. But at the time where I met you, my body was also absorbing vitamins and minerals, and it
Yeah.
was better. And you know
Exactly.
it, you know what I'm saying, like, just gives it time. But I always tell people, I'm like, when it comes to infertility, if you're going to start on the natural side, that's great, that's a great start, do it. But it does take some time for your body to heal. And at the time where I had met you and this guy, I feel like it was a great combination in the timing, in my mindset, in my spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
like everything, it just came together, and everything did a dance, and now I have a baby inside of me.
I
You
know,
know.
and you're right. Everything aligned the way it needed to be aligned.
Mhm.
And there's so many desperate women out there. And I know it. And I can be a true, like, just thinking about myself and being, buy here, buy here. No, I tell them, pause. Let's think about where you've been. You have to eat organic. You have to take care of yourself. I'm
Mhm.
like, meditate, pray, you have
Mhm.
to make sure that mentally you can go through this journey and that you're ready for this journey.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you're touching on all these points, and this is why I'm so excited that you're here, because it gives people a clear vision, at least to where to start, because
Mhm.
people want the fast track. We're so used to that here in the mid, in not Midwest, but just Western culture. Is like, give
Yeah.
me a pill. I want to lose weight, give me a pill. I don't want to work towards it. And it takes effort. It takes work.
Mhm.
You have to work on your overall well-being, not just
Mhm.
physically, mentally, spiritually. Make sure
Mhm.
that all those things are. And you were so ready for that tea. You met the pressure point. It opened up blockages. And I tell people,
Mhm.
something is blocked. We got to get it out of the
Mhm.
way.
Yep.
And that really worked in combination. It's an
Yeah.
amazing story.
Yeah, even therapy has helped me unblock a lot of things, like, you know, in my body, because your body holds trauma. So I
Yes.
was working with a therapist that focuses on trauma based, and she dealt with infertility herself. She got
Mhm.
pregnant after 10 years. She has two beautiful babies now. But we went through therapy, and then I'm a rape victim. You know, I was raped at 14 years old, and that could also cause blockage on by your uterus because the trauma is there. So yeah, you know, like, I love the Lord, and you know, the Lord has healed me from that traumatic experience, but your body holds the trauma, and when you release the trauma, it just the blockage is not there anymore. So I am a big believer of that too, that even talking to my therapist has helped me heal and let my body release, because trauma therapy is very different from talk therapy. She had me do things like shake my body, you know, kind of like let see how I'm feeling, if I'm feeling hot or cold, where am I feeling it, and how to release that, you know. So that's another thing that I highly recommend. Your body holds trauma, and that trauma is going to be held there, you know, until we learn how to let it go. But with the trauma therapist, and I can send you her information too, she's amazing. Her practice is amazing. It's insane. I've learned so much, and I'm like, man, I this is insane. I want to become a holistic doctor now just because I know so much.
It's so true, though. It's so
Yeah.
true. Everything leads up to be able to have this conversation, and someone's going to run into my channel who's never heard of me, never heard of you, and it's going to say, this conversation really had my mind opened, and maybe I need to tap into this. And I like how you said about warm, the uterus being warm, the womb being warm, and that's what the tea does. And so a lot of people say, oh, do you have something that can warm up my body, that can warm up my uterus? Because it's all about circulation and flow. And so,
Mhm.
yes, the tea does concentrate on keeping your uterus warm and your womb warm. And Chinese medicine, they practice a lot of just keeping the body warm. That's why there's a
Mhm.
lot of stews in their diets, because it's all about keeping your body warm, helping your digestive system, and getting rid of things that don't belong in your body. And so
Mhm.
keeping your body warm. So I talk a lot about that, which I'm glad you're mentioning that, because it is important. Keeping your body warm, keeping yourself warm, and doing things that will keep your body warm, like drinking the teas and doing soups and stews in your diet.
Yeah, no, I'm a testimony to the worm keeping, because the first time I went to the acupressure guy, so I went twice with him. The second time I was already pregnant and I didn't even know it. The first time he felt my uterus, he said, your uterus is cold. And you know, he was like, uterus is cold and this and that. And I had just taken the tea like for a week, right? The second time I went back, I had told them, I was like, I'm not putting my hopes up, but I'm just letting you know that I haven't got my period. But this happens all the time. Maybe it's just gonna be late or something. Maybe my body is just on crack right now, because I wasn't trusting my body. And I didn't want to put my hopes up. So he's like, lay down. And the first thing he touches is my uterus. And then he's like, oh no, there's blood flowing in there now. Now your uterus is warm.
Yes.
And I have been taking your tea by that time, probably for like a month already. And so that's a testimony in itself. My uterus was cold after the first time I went to him, when I was taking your tea for like a week, and then a month later my uterus was warm, and I was already pregnant at that time. So he didn't even do anything on me, because he said, let's just wait and see what happens. Take a test in a couple of weeks, and you know, we'll see what happens. And I was like, okay. So then I waited a couple of weeks, and a little bit more than a couple of weeks, because I had anxiety taking the test, and I was like, I don't want to take a test. I don't want to, you know. And so I was like, I'm gonna take a test. And about one test, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna get happy right now. And it was insane that I have the 2 lines, and I was like, what? I was freaking out. But yeah, so the tea definitely got my uterus warm, but blood flowing and all that good stuff, which is crazy to me.
And you got your body ready for it. So you were able to heal your body by doing the research, by doing the things that you need to do. And I know a lot of us say, I don't want to put all that work and effort. And if you don't, then maybe having a baby is not for you. But it does take work and effort, especially if your body's ready and you don't want to just get pregnant and not be able to carry the baby full term, because it is a very painful experience. And I really, if I can stop from women going through that, I would, because it's a lot. But no, this is so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I love every detail that you shared with us. I'm gonna capture the acupuncture pressure guy, the health doctor, the natural health doctor, and then who else? Your therapist, the trauma therapist. So I'll get that information. We'll put it in the description, so people, if they live in the area, they can go and contact them, and maybe they can do sessions online too. Who knows? But the full intention here is to spread the word, to figure out what can work for you, because I am running into a lot of women who are having all sorts of womb issues. And you know, I'm a one person, and so it's difficult sometimes to be able to tell them, you need to do this, you need to do that. And so it's nice to hear from another perspective, and another type of journey that actually worked. And so yeah, I can't wait for people's feedback. I can't wait to hear how people feel about this interview and what has helped them. So thank you so much for sharing with us.
Of course, yeah.
And so where can people find you? Your name is Carol. She's the business owner of Lather, which we love. I think I have it in my cart right now if it hasn't gone through. I need shampoo. So I use her shampoo. I'm very picky on the products that I use, just because we know what's out there. As makers, we know what's in our food. We know what's in the stores on the shelves. We know how to read those labels, and we know what to stay away from. And it's always big corporations. And so I don't like to shop with big corporations. If I know someone's doing their research and they're putting their heart and their research in what they're making, I buy from them. And so I love buying your stuff. My kids use your shampoo, your conditioner, and they always go through it so fast. So I have my shopping cart, so I'm actually getting some right away. So please let everyone know where they can find you and where they can shop with you.
Yes. So I have a website. It's called www.lather.co. Or you can go to my Instagram, which is lather.llc. I'm sure Nancy could just tag on the description on it. And then my website is linked in my bio and all the good stuff. I ship out. I usually do local delivery, but because we're having this kid, we have to get situated. So right now we're just shipping everything out. We will be in some markets this season. So just follow me on Instagram for that, just for more information. And yeah, and since I said earlier that vitamin D is very, very like, good for you, you don't want to block vitamin D out of your body. So there's like sunscreens, like summertime is coming, all these sunscreens are blocking your
Yes.
vitamin D and stuff. So make sure that
Yes.
everybody can get a product that you're not blocking your vitamin D. So I created a blend with my body oil, and this is what I use personally. Let me see where's the camera. It's called
Yeah.
Cuerpo body oil. I use this personally on my body, on my face. You can use it all over your body, all over your face. It has amazing benefits, but the biggest benefit that this body oil has is that it gives you a natural SPF 50. That gives your body protection from the sun, but is not blocking the sun. So your body can do what it needs to do and create the vitamin D, and you have, optimal vitamin D levels. But if you are somebody's dealing with any sadness or any suicidal thoughts, I always tell people, please check your vitamin D first before getting into anything, and make sure that your body's absorbing vitamins and minerals, because it does take a huge toll on your body. So yeah, so that's where you can find me. And yeah, you'll probably see me at markets and stuff like that. You'll probably see me at markets too, Nancy, when after we have the baby and stuff like that.
Of course, of course. And you look so beautiful. You're so glowing.
Thank you.
Can we see the belly?
Yeah. Okay. This girl is big. Let me see.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
it. I see it. Oh my gosh, you look amazing. It comes and goes, but we see it.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, how
Right there.
beautiful. Mira, qué linda.
Tomorrow we're 40 weeks. So I'm definitely full term. I might be past due. But yeah, and then she loves to flip, and I love to flip her back. And I've been flipping her back naturally. So I'm telling you, all the natural things, they do work. It just takes a little bit of time,
Of course, of course. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with me and with all of us. And sending you lots of love, blessings. That baby's going to be so healthy and so happy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Well, let me know if you need anything. We're always here. And I'm definitely going to shop on your website right now, finish up my order, and getting some of that oil too, and getting some for my kids.
Yeah. We have all kinds of sizes in there. So if people just want to try it, they could try it, and then, the whole thing in there. But yeah, it's awesome. So I love that thing, especially right now in the summertime. Summer's coming. I'm like, ooh, the body oil.
Yes, of course. And we all need vitamin D. So it's perfect.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Carol. Have a blessed day.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.